Folks, we understand what's really going on. And this is what they meant by the reset. And some say it would be a global reset. But here in the States, it is um, them basically coming off the old system and going into a new system, basically, of how things function here. And the fiat system is basically, it's been on life support, but it's about to fizzle and phase out, which they've been following that for God knows how long. But the common people are asleep. They're busy doing what they do. Of course, it's the same old story. But those of you who are awake, those of you who have been paying attention, those of you who have been seeking the truth, those of you who have been doing your due diligence to find out for yourself what's really going on, you're not going to be concerned like the masses, like most people who are going to be freaking out once they are unable to use the paper currency. They're not going to understand what's going on. You will understand, but most people are not going to get it. So to basically sum it up, and this is twofold, for the Moors, Noble Drawley said, if you do anything, proclaim and declare your Moorish nationality. Brother Taj Tariq Bey, he had been talking about it for decades. I came into this knowledge through the message that came from Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey. And it was through that knowledge that got me seeking the truth. And I stumbled on to him after I had done a DNA test. And it was like a sequence of events because that was during the year 2017. And I remember that year being really significant because not only did I do that DNA test about 6 months prior to the great eclipse that took place, many of you may still remember it. It swept from the West Coast to the East Coast, from Oregon to South Carolina. And I believe that was a solar eclipse. Was that a solar eclipse? I don't know if it was solar or lunar, but whichever it was a major eclipse, and it swept across the country. That is when I awakened in 2017, and I came into the marvelous light of nationality and knowing the truth about my identity as a Moorish American. And once you gain that knowledge and you begin to study, then you are going to quickly comprehend that what we see today going on is supposed to happen. It's got to happen. They are not ignorant to what's really going on. The shutdowns, the firings, all of that is them telling the people in so many ways that they're broke. They just don't have it. They don't have it. This place, the natural resources, the wealth, everything has been plundered and squandered and manipulated and stolen and plagiarized and confiscated over and over again so many times. And there's derivative after derivative after derivative, shell company after shell company after shell company. So anyway, here we go. It had to come to an end. They've been talking about it. And what you're watching is the fizzle down of the old system. That's all you're looking at. And this actually started back from the days of Lincoln, actually, believe it or not. Yeah. How many of y'all know that the Constitution guarantees a republic, not a democracy? Why do your politicians push for democracy? Every time they open up their mouth, they're talking about this democracy. What is that? Because the Constitution guarantees a republic. I know we used to back in the day, when you stood in class and did your Pledge of Allegiance, you say, I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic, for which it stands? Huh? So did you say and to the democracy for which it stands? No, you did not. But you're talking but your politicians today are talking democracy. That in itself is treason, folks. You can't get no more clearer. Article 6. Article 6 of the Constitution. No other laws notwithstanding. You can't make stuff up. You can't. There's certain things these folks got away with for a long time, and it's catching up with them. Now they're scrambling. Trump knew what he was getting himself into. So, but you got to realize he's still part of the system. Many have put all their coins in that basket, and they're praying, oh Lord, Trump is going to save us. He's not there to save you. He is there to do what he has to do to maintain the system. So when the system goes through its metamorphosis and coming off the old system, all right, he's got to make sure that it don't fumble. That's what he's doing. It has nothing to do with you. So if you think that he's there, fighting for you and all that, okay, hold that thought. Wait. You sit there, you figure that out. You'll figure that out. Yeah. There's a lot of people that voted for Trump, and they sitting on the employment line. And it's going to get even worse. So if you haven't gotten your gold and silver, if you haven't been planning and stacking and doing what you're supposed to do, because the Moors, you were told this eons ago. Whatever these Europeans do is not our concern, because we know what happened once you know the truth. So I invite everybody, whether you're a Moor or whether you are something else or whatever it is, because we're all part of the human family. So there is only but one race, and that's the human race. So all this other stuff is political and social. Social engineering. That one's this one's that. No. And Moors, we have an obligation to a covenant. What you create, you are responsible for. That's why Europeans were put in Europe, the Caucasians. So you can hate them, you can point fingers at them and call them names and whatever. You can do that. But at the end of the day, you are still responsible for that. You really are. They may think they're in charge, but you are supposed to know better. You're supposed to know the law. All law, divine law, natural law, jurisprudence, the common law, common sense. You're supposed to know these things. And if you don't, that's your problem. You fell asleep, and you failed to stay current and know thyself, because of the first thing the pharaohs taught in the mystery schools, know thyself. And the first thing that you do, Noble Drawley said, proclaim and declare your Moorish nationality. If you do anything, proclaim and declare your Moorish nationality. And then once you do that, you study. You don't give up on studying. Because you got to stay on top of these people, because they're going to play you. They're going to come with all kind of corporate statutes and codes and all kind of stuff. And you see the mess they done created. When they strayed away from the Constitution, they created a hot mess. It's so funny, because Europeans are a very unique group of people, because they want everybody's shit. You can't, no matter what you do, they want everybody's shit, for real. And they will figure out a way to take your stuff. Now, it's funny, because in natural law, all right, in natural law, the law cause and effect, what you do must come back to you. So when you murder people and you steal from people and you hypothecate and you plagiarize and you do all this stuff so that you can sit there pretty, screw everybody else, Everybody else's child, not your concern when you're Caucasian. As long as your family is good, as long as your wealth is intact, as long as you got your shit, then you're fine. But when somebody come after you, you're up in arms. The Caucasians. Up in arms. Ready to fight. Got guns all over the place, fighting. But they forgot. You took somebody else's shit. Didn't think twice. Didn't think twice. No conscience. Sit up in church and call the Lord, Lord. And think, okay, just forgive me this time. And I'm ready to go back and do some more shit again. So all of it is for naught. All of it is just a waste of time. A waste of your time and mine. So here we go. Get your Anunnaki Bibles. Get your Hermeticas. Get your Kabbalions. These are publications. These are books. Get your Septuagint. This is the first Bible. Look up Georgia House Resolution 1203. Not only the Moors should know this information, but everyone should know this information, regardless of who you are. Georgia House Resolution 1203. They weren't the only ones. The Georgia State Legislature was not the only one that put that out. There were proclamations and resolutions done across North America. And it talks about the Moors. As the Moors wake up, and it's important that you begin to wake up. How do you wake up? By knowing thyself first. You got many out there who say you got to do this paperwork, that paperwork. You have you don't become a Moor by nationalizing. All you're doing is looking in the mirror and say, now I know. I'm not Negro. I'm not black. I'm not colored. That came out of American apartheid. That came out of a system to steal from you and make you a corporate citizen. Huh? That's why the Caucasians here in the States are in trouble. They don't have a nationality if they call themselves white. There's no such thing in a human family. You have to belong to a nation. And if you call yourself an American, well, that's a problem too, because America is a continent, not a country. See where I'm going? So this is a dilemma they put themselves in, and you can't feel sorry for that. You can't colonize somebody else's shit and think it's okay and you got away with something. You didn't get away with nothing, because give it time. Sit back, let time do what it's got to do. Because the ones that caused this mess may not pay the price, but their children will. I'm telling you. Happens all the time. Happens all the time. So here we go. Folks, do your best. Study. Take your time. Don't rush. Lots going to happen. It has to happen. Don't get excited. But it has to happen. Sit back and rejoice, because that means salvation is on its way. So get ready. All right? And prepare yourself. It ain't going to be pretty for a lot of folks. But don't let you get got by being ignorant. All right? So seek the truth now and proclaim and declare your nationality. Those Caucasians that are here, that are waking up, that have a conscience, that have a brain, they ain't caught up in this nonsense, this superiority nonsense. You got to study too. Keep your head clear. Stay off the nonsense. You know, the drugs and alcohol. Don't be doing that. You got no time for that. There's something that the Moors have to do for those Caucasians that are willing to obey the law. And that's all it takes. You got to do nothing special. Peace and love to you. Until next time.